So, welcome to the Boring Wisdom. This is the Gen Z guide on focus. So, first of all, we are changing a little bit in content. We are now creating full length educational guides. We're not just focusing on particular book summaries, but now we are moving on to the actual content like focus, productivity, journaling, and all of the different personal development, self improvement, and behavioral psychological stuff. So, the first thing that we've decided is a focus guide, especially for Gen Z, because we know that modern distractions are harder than ever before. So, this is going to be a few day guide. We're not just going to create a full length educational guide like 1 hour, 2 hour straight long. We're just going to be dividing it into 3 to 4 different parts, 10 minutes every single day, and then we're going to take it to 3 to 4 days. That's it. So, let's start by understanding what exactly is focus. This is going to be introduction to focus. So, first of all, we have to face it. Focus is harder than ever before. Between constant notifications, social media, and temptation to switch task every few minutes, you just sit down with your laptop and suddenly you're on your phone and suddenly you're reading a book. Suddenly you're thinking about something else. It feels like our brain are being pulled in thousands of different directions, all of our sides. Like your anterior cingulate cortex is on this direction, your mid cingulate cortex is this direction, and your other parts of the brain are in different directions. All of your brains are in different directions. And if you're a Gen Z, you have grown up in digital distractions, and it's hard to not get sucked into the vortex of instant gratification because thanks to social media, thanks to Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. So basically, study shows that our attention span has drastically dropped over the years, which makes it really hard to stay focused on single task for longer periods of time. You might have noticed this on yourself. It's only like you sit down on your laptop and you decide to work maybe for 30 minutes, just as small as for 20 minutes. You couldn't stay focused on anything. Like genuinely, you cannot stay focused for 20 minutes without any kind of nonsense thoughts or without scrolling one reel. So here's the thing, this doesn't mean that you are bad at focus. It just means that your brain is wired differently right now, especially with the technology around you. But here's the good part, focus can be trained, and that's exactly what we're going to work on together. So now that you understood why focus is a challenge in the digital age, we have a lot of technology around us, a lot of instant gratification technology. So let's dive into the science behind it and understand how our brain processes focus and help us tackle these distractions head on. So now let's just go a little bit into science. Our brain is essentially a powerful processing machine, and there's a part inside of it which is called as the prefrontal cortex, which is essentially responsible for decision making, goal setting, and of course, focus. The challenge is that your brain craves dopamine, the chemical that makes you feel good. That is why scrolling social media is so addictive, because every like, comment, notification, all of these things gives you little dopamine hit. Just little dopamine hits. All of the relatable reels that you get that relates with you, your life, your lifestyle, your thought process, everything gives you little dopamine hits that keeps you coming back for more. And the problem is, the more your brain gets used to these tiny dopamine hits, the harder it becomes to focus on long, uninterrupted tasks. So, while you might feel good in the short term, it's actually undermining your long term focus. But don't worry, there is a way to hack this. There's a way we can hack this. With the science in mind, let's talk about one most effective way to combat distraction, which is called as single tasking. If we understand how our brains get distracted, we can train it to focus better on one task at a time. So, the first strategy that I want you to try is single tasking. I know, it sounds really boring compared to the rush of multitasking where you're journaling, trying to meditate, and also working on your project, and also thinking about something else while listening to a podcast, and all of these things. Research has shown that our brain aren't designed for multitasking. We're not designed for multitasking. We might think that we are doing several things at once, but really we are switching between tasks so rapidly that we are losing our productivity. And we are doing nothing. So we are trying to do everything whilst we are doing nothing. So when you focus on one thing at a time, you give it your full attention, leading to better results in less time. So try maybe dedicating 20 to 30 minutes of uninterrupted time to a single task. Put your phone away, maybe in another room, maybe on charging, anywhere where you cannot just reach it very quick. You have to stand up or maybe go somewhere to get your phone. You have to put it that way away. So turn off notifications and just dive deep into your work. You just have to have your laptop or maybe your journal, book, or whatever that happens to be on your working on, which you're working on. Just dive deep into your work. Simple tasking is great, but even when we focus on one thing, we need a method to make sure that we stay sharp. That is where the Pomodoro technique comes in and it breaks down things into manageable intervals, right? So, giving your brain, which basically gives your brain a chance to stay energized. So basically, Pomodoro is a simple but incredibly effective way to focus, right? You work for around 20 minutes straight, and then you take a 5 minutes of small break. And after four sessions, like you continuously do that 25 minutes of work, 25 minutes of break, 25 minutes of work, followed by 5 minutes of break. And you do that four times, and then you take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. These short bursts of work, these short bursts of works help you maintain your attention without overwhelming you because you are taking short breaks. By working in intervals, you give your brain time to recharge and keeping it sharp, ready to tackle the next task. So, knowing that there's a break coming helps you focus on during your work period. All right, so we have got the time management strategies with Pomodoro, and one more thing, one most important thing. Whilst you're taking your 5 minutes break, don't do something which is hyper stimulating. Like, say, for example, video games, social media. Maybe just sit down, maybe just sit and journal, maybe just think about the work that you're going to do in the next session, in the next 25 minutes, or just journal, or maybe stare at the wall, take a 5 minutes of walk, or go and drink water. Do anything but which is not hyper stimulating. Like, don't scroll social media and don't play video games. That's it. Do anything other than these things, right? So you just have to understand that Pomodoro is one of the best time management strategies that you can do as a beginner. And there is another factor that can make or break your focus, your environment. So let's now take a look at how to optimize your workspace, which can take your focus to the next level. If your desk is cluttered with papers and your phone is buzzing every single time and your space is noisy, you're going to have a hard time concentrating. So start by cleaning up your workspace. A clean place, clean mind. That's it. Clean desk, clean mind, clean work, clean results. That's it. That's what I believe in. So get rid of all the distractions. Like, put your phone on DND, do not disturb, and make sure all of the things you are working on and you're working with has to be organized. All your files, all your books, all your papers, everything should be organized. And if you can, then find a quiet place to work, or maybe use noise cancelling headphones to block out the distractions. A distraction free zone helps your brain to focus on task at hand instead of constantly being pulled away by the outside stimuli. So now that we've set up a distraction free environment, it's time to think about how to structure our day. Time blocking is the first fast and perfect strategy for keeping your focus locked in whilst you work. It's all about allocating time for specific tasks. So instead of just randomly doing some task, you have to have precise given routines, precise given blocks of work. So instead of working on a task whenever you feel like, schedule dedicated blocks of time for deep work. Say, for example, set aside 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for writing, then 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. p.m. for research, and so on. Something like that. Okay, you understood what I'm trying to say. During each block, focus solely on the task at hand. When you're working on writing, just focus on writing. Don't think about the scriptings or recording the videos or anything like that. Just focus on writing. When you're reading, just focus on reading. Don't think about YouTube analytics or your project or anything like that. Basically, time blocks help you structure your day and ensures that you are spending your time on the most important task at hand rather than getting distracted by the things that don't align with your goals. So we have got the strategy in place. And here's the thing, the essence, it is really essential to check in with yourself. Reflecting on your focus, habits, and adjusting accordingly is a game changer. in the journey to mastering focus. So, at the end of every single day, all you have to do is ask yourself, did I stay focused? What distracted me? What worked well? By evaluating your habits and adjusting based on what's working and where you can fine tune your approach to focus. All you have to do is just these things. You have to just ask yourself, did I stay focused? If not, then what distracted me? What worked really well? What helped me focus well? Was that noise cancelling headphones? Was that the environment? Was that the music? Was that my work load? Was that how I planned it? Was that the structure of the work? Anything, just write it down. By evaluating your habits, you will understand, you will get the data points that what is working. Maybe this kind of music works. Maybe this place basically works. When I drink a bunch of water before work, that works. Maybe if I fast, then that works better. Maybe if I eat and work, that works better. Maybe if I work in the day, that works better. Maybe if I work in night, that works better. All of these things, you will start to get data points on that. And you have to just remember that focus is a skill. Like any skill, it improves with practice. The more you practice these strategies, the easier it will get. So, with reflection in mind, keep improving every single day. Remember, focus is a skill that gets better the more you practice it. And speaking of the practice, tomorrow we'll dive deeper into how to stay on track and handle distraction. So, make sure that you come back on the day two, which is basically tomorrow. All right, so that's a wrap up for day one of the Gen Z guide on focus. Remember, focus isn't something you either have or you don't, it's a skill that you develop. To start by using these strategies we've talked about today and see what works for you. Stick with it, and by the end of this guide, you will be able to focus much more better than how you do right now. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the day two, where we'll dive deeper into how to tackle distraction and stay on track. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any update. Stay focused. See you in the next one.